Hi, this is OrionPax09, and let's play Ghostbusters the Video Game. Last time we went through Tobin's Spirit Guide, and now we're going to examine all those marvelous little artifacts we tracked down during our travels through the game. Let's see, Voyaging Case International. Okay, circa 1865, the Voyaging Case International has been appearing on trade stations, loading docks, and airports since mid-1800s. Porters and baggage handlers around the globe whisper its legend, generally regarded as friendly. The Summoner Bell. Origin unknown, but reportedly seen in the Hotel de Jardin Printanier just before its disappearance. The hotel, not the bell. How this paranormally significant artifact ended up the Hotel Sedgwick is anyone's guess, though its impact on customer service cannot be underestimated. Gustav self-service tray. Circa 1893, fine silver service set purchased as a lot from the famed Australian Hotel de Gustav after it mysteriously burned down. This is the only piece from the set known to appear at the Sedgwick rooms unbidden and unaccompanied. Brighton guests are often unsure as to the proper gratuity for this service. That would be confusing. Portrait of G. Sedgwick. Circa 1910, when Godfrey McAllister Sedgwick opened his Grand Hotel, many thought it was strange that someone who detested people so thoroughly would open a business where so many were invited to come. That is a bit strange, isn't it? Toaster of Sights Unseen. 1968. Circa 1968, Madame D, a powerful but dying medium, cast her instrumental power for prophecy into an object nearest to her as she drew her final breath. The toaster of sight unseen can answer many questions posed about the future. Fancy that. And I bet it makes toast too. Stay Puft figure. Circa 1989, Ghostbusters craze broke throughout New York City following the Vigo incident in 1989. Souvenir street vendors moved literal tons of unlicensed clothing and cheap knockoff novelties. It's estimated that Stay Puft figures outsold the usually best-selling state jewelry by more than 2-1 that year, even the new wind-up walking version of Libby. The trend faded almost as quickly as it began, and sales of Ghostbusters merchandise dwindled. Some remainders can still be found on the streets of Manhattan and the boroughs, and may even be imbued with supernatural elements. Fancy that. Okay. 3 Cho Jenkins Midnight Goose. Circa 1944, the fabled bottomless bottle of 3 Cho Jenkins, a notorious, unrepented tramp that rode the rails in the 30s and 40s. The legend goes that he was called the Speedy Jenkins before he exchanged something dear to him for a bottle of cough syrup that never runs dry. I don't think we probably want to know what that something dear was. Okay. The Ravishing Red Prince. Circa 1954, painted by the famed madman of the Hague, Remco de Groot. De Groot was infamous for supposedly using his own blood and the blood of others to construct his modernist masterpieces. This was later proven just a wild rumor, however, thank goodness. Petrolia's mischievous cone. Circa 1979, charged with a high level of PK energy as well as a strange sense of mischievousness, this ordinary-looking traffic cone has been known to maliciously change positions, confusing drivers and racking up an impressive string of bizarre traffic accidents. Jerk. Homan's Black Low-Rise. Circa 1926, American occultist John George Homan commissioned a scale model for a domestic center of evil. Black Low-Rise of Tri was from the Shandor architectural firm. The model was completed, but Homan never returned to claim or pay for it. Dare I ask what happened to him? Ugh. Osmodeus Hotline. Circa 1965, there were only 5 production models of Telco's red phone ever made. It's rumored that the phone only completed calls for those who were about to die. Charming. Okay. Galliano's Enchanted Pail. Circa 1940, world-famous magician Angelo Galliano had an older brother, Ronald, who was said to be an even more talented magician than Angelo. Ronald wasn't good with audience, though, so took up construction work when he couldn't get regular stage work. Fancy that. Seat of Vapors Foul. Circa 1957, originally owned by self-proclaimed wizard and prankster Franklin Laffy Worst. Worst felt that the famous whooping cushion gag, while amusing, needed an update. He supposedly summoned a sub-demon and bound it to the chair, then invited obnoxious dinner guests to have a seat, to their eventual horror and embarrassment. Worse than shot and killed by a particularly temperamental victim. Some people just don't have a sense of humor. Portrait Eleanor Twitty. Circa 1923, Eleanor Twitty, head of the New York Public Library's Special Collections, was murdered by her lover, philologist Edmund Hoover, when she denied him further access to special collections. Hoover was later revealed as an incorrigible serial killer and was executed by the state. Twitty was memorialized as a dedicated librarian that gave her life protecting the books she so dearly loved. And now she's a horrifying monster. Fancy that. Reluctant Reading Lamp. 1959, celebrated novelist Arthur Houston conceived and conducted research for his new books at this library table under this lamp for over 30 years. Severe's writer block gripped him in his 60s and wouldn't let him go. Houston's psychic frustration channeled to the lamp and resides there now, refusing to let anyone read under its light. Whew. Something. Ali al-Balu's Irksome Rug. Circa 1256, antique carpet imbued with the power of flight by minor Persian magus Ali al-Balu. On its maiden flight around this palace, the rug dropped erratically, and the corpulent al-Balu tumbled off while more than 90 feet up in the air. He died instantly on impact. Oh boy, I'm not sure I want to try and fly that thing. Yep. Featherwell Stocking Chair. Circa 1976, Nate Featherwell, aspiring ventriloquist, had big dreams but not much talent. He spent his life savings on a charm from a voodoo priestess. When used correctly, the spell would bring wood to life. Nate hoped to use it to charm his dummy Smuggy, but accidentally worked his spell on the chair he sat on instead. The chair, alive but ignored, grew jealous of the attention Featherwell lavished on the inanimate Smuggy and did away with them both in a rage-fueled wood chipper accident. This chair slipped away unnoticed and remains at large to this day. Yikes. Pin-up Calendar of Doom. Circa 1975, while surveying the contents of 17 crates of old stock photographs he'd bought as a lot at an auction, calendar publisher Werner Geschman came across a treasure trove of photos, a 20-year-old collection of ravishing pinups of parade queens from the New York Thanksgiving Parade. Geschman recognized the goldmine stumbled upon. Nostalgia pinup craze was sweeping the nation in 1975, and he rushed to print the collection as a 16-month calendar. What Geschman didn't know was that the photos, when arranged in a certain order, deciphered a code that points towards the true origin of the devil. An origin that, as it turns out, is far less impressive than most people think. Forsworn to protect this secret from untold generations, dark cult sect, the Vigilant Legion of the Black Pit, realized that the calendar had reached store shelves too late to stop it. In a last-ditch effort to keep the code secure, the Vigilant Legion cast a spell over all the crates of calendars so that the pages were flipping and switched constantly. As it turned out, nobody was really interested in parade queens from the 50s and 60s, and the calendar sold less than a dozen copies. The Vigilant Legion bought up most of them, and Geschman gave the rest to friends and family in Christmas. Embarrassed by their alacrity, the Vigilant Legion in the Black Pit murdered them all anyway, just to be thorough. Jerks. Ritual Mask of Bad Advice. Circa 1915, Leslie Campbell, niece of archaeologist Professor Gordon Campbell, received the Huxlati Ritual Mask of Bad Advice in a package from her uncle. It was the last anyone ever heard of him. In the package was a cryptic note. Don't listen. But eventually, she did. Yeah, probably not the best of ideas. Excuse me. Cursed Musket of C. Starkey. Circa 1868, Confederate artillery gunner Cecil Starkey deserted his post in the middle of a bloody battle that wiped out his platoon. The last surviving man in his platoon cursed Starkey with his dying breath. The cannon you desecrated will yet find thee. Starkey was killed years later in a hunting accident where witnesses claim he somehow fired a 12-pounder cannon shot from his rifle. What?! The shot allegedly bounced from tree to tree until returning to its terrified owner, Cecil Starkey. Yikes. Bagged head of the Zathotep. Circa 1967 BC, once part of a mammoth statue of the evil Egyptian god warrior Azathothep, this stone head has never been able to keep its mouth shut. Normally it just breathes heavily and mumbles, but occasionally it will whisper a maddening, sanity dissolving riddle that has sent more than one unlucky listener into the asylum. Yikes. Phoenician plague vase. Circa 1700 BC, worshippers of Reshef surreptitiously placed these vessels among good shipments to enemies. When activated, the vessels produced hordes of various plagues to overwhelm and terrorize enemies. The writing on this particular specimen translates as Sacred Rat Jar. Charming. Painting of the Trustees. Circa 1936, painter Ambrose Whitman captured the city's most powerful captains of industry in a moment of solemn reflection in a painting entitled The Chairman and the Board of Trustees. And it shows them as they really are on the inside, not just the outside. Yuck. Remote-controlled Ecto-1. Circa 1987, created as a part of the merchandising flood that followed the Ghostbusters' initial success, this remote-controlled Ecto-1 was a favorite among the fans. Judging from its occasional twitching and wheel spinning, this particular car seems to have outrun it with a low-level possessing spirit. It's right who has somewhere else to be. Well, you've got to ride in style. Phantom Flush Toilet. Ugh. Circa 1906, President presented to His Majesty Edward VII as a diplomatic gift from the Moroccan ambassador. This stunning specimen of engineering craftsmanship has been a harbinger of disaster and death since its initial casting. Unbeknownst to the ambassador, a Turkish drowning demon was bound to the magnificent throne as a fiendish assassination ploy. An insolent under-butler became the seat's first British victim when said servant tried to use it before Edward had a chance. The under-butler was dragged to his horrible water doom, and the toilet was quickly removed from the royal palace and thrown in the rubbish. It has since passed through many hands and households, spouting terror and tragedy in each. Even in this day and age, it is difficult to imagine that such a work of beauty is so incredibly deadly. Yeah, I have a very easy time imagining this thing as being a monster. Ugh. Cruel Oven. The origin of this evil cooking device aren't clear. What is known, however, is that demons and devils apparently love a home-cooked meal. Fancy that. The Unruly Beard of V. Belasco. I think that's how it's pronounced. Circa 1933, Russian demonologist Vladimir Belasco performed exorcisms throughout near central Russia in the 20s and early 30s. He never noticed that one of the very minor subdemons he cast out had escaped into his beard, a massive and wild nest that stirred envy in most men. Upon his death, the possessed beard left Belasco's face and stowed aboard a freighter into the Americas. The beard has a tendency to affix itself to the chins of unknowing victims while they speak to mock them, but rarely does any harm. Well, that's something at least. Possessed bell-bottom jeans. Circa 1970, rumored to have been haunted during a seance on the Mary Prankster's tour bus, these jeans have long been a staple of psychedelic supernatural underground. Spotted on the stage at Woodstock, caught on a grainy 16mm film in this candlelit background of a height Ashley Lovin, photographed riding behind a member of a notorious biker gang fleeing Altamont. The walking pants have been around wherever weirdness or tragedy strikes the hipster scene. The walking pants are the hippie equivalent to the girl on the road ghost story. Why they're resurfacing this year? They haven't been seen since 1981. Swiss death clock. Circa 1821, the infamous Swiss death clock was constructed by Herschel Galoot, genius but demented watchmaker. It is intended to show the exact time of death of anyone that comes near it. When placed in the firehouse in close proximity to so many past life entities, the clock's hands spin out of control. Peter uses it as a desk fan. Why not? Why do I have such a easy time seeing Peter doing this? Something that stupid. Broccoli Queen autobiography. Circa 1973, as related in her book Confessions of a Broccoli Queen, the beautiful Sydney Chalmers came to the big city with big dreams and a modeling contract, and was selected Broccoli Queen of the Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1967. Little did she know that would be the pinnacle of her career. She went to Hollywood to make movies, but only appeared in a string of low-grade exploitation films. A life of ongoing parties and desperation led to her pen and a sexy and scathing tell-all of the beauty industry. Sydney died in a tragic and somewhat suspect hot tub accident the day the book hit the stands. She never knew that she'd finally found the success she craved, as the book entered the bestseller list and remained there for over 2 years. Not really cursed, but it's a really good airplane lead. Church of Gozer's Songbook. Ugh. Circa 1919, having resuscitated the Dark Church of Gozer and wanting to increase its popular appeal, evil Shandor made attempts at updating ancient Sumerian droning rituals to modern-day worship songs. The practice of singing in the Dark Church was abandoned soon afterwards. What a shock! Fox Hunt on Tiamat Island. Circa 1910, artist and Shandor devotee Verkan Vidam painted this fanciful scene after attending a prestigious fox hunt on Tiamat Island. That works. Ghostbusters DVD. Circa 2008, Shandor cultists are searching for artifacts from the future that would reveal the outcome of their plan. While destruction achieved only the sad, transparent attempt at cross-marketing. It's an awesome movie, though. Available now only on DVD. And it is awesome. Certainly. Okay. Wheel of the Alabaster Wretch. Circa 1796, the Alabaster Wretch was lost with all hands while carrying unspecified cargo from Zanzibar. The ship's manifest records the uneasy misgivings of Captain Alfred Gaster. Crew is on edge. We hear the blasted singing from below decks of night and day now, but there's no one down there. I have resolved to pitch the cursed Albanian strange-shaped crates overboard tonight, and if he protests, he'll go too. Yikes. Singing slime. The origin of these colorful jars of slime is not known, but it can't be all bad. I mean, they're singing barbershop, right? I've heard of worse things. Anguish Stuffed Bear. The origin of this ratty old stuffed bear is not known, but its paranormal behavior, the imitating of an off-putting, though strangely compelling cry of anguish, has been periodically heard since the day it was removed from Claus Museum of Taxidermic Curiosities in December 1867. Yikes. Whistling Bust of Marsh. Circa 1734, Frederick de Marsh was a damned sneak and was always up to something. His bust, carved by the Italian masterpiece Mascompane, is the exact same way. Ghostbusters Mugging Balloon. Circa 1989, the Ghostbusters often offered the souvenir mug and balloon as a service premium during the comeback phase of their career. It's assumed that one of the escapee ghosts from the containment unit snatched these and carried them to the Central Park Cemetery. Even ghosts like to take up a souvenir occasionally. Well, why not? There's nothing wrong with that. Stone Angel Head. Circa 1943, this stone angel originally resided with many others on a fountain in a quiet piazza near the Ponte Vecchio. Stories have it that during World War II, a squad of black shirts were brutalizing a woman and her small children. When one of the children fell, his neck struck the rim of the fountain and he died instantly. The fountain's sheriff stirred to life at that moment, wailing and crying, beseeching Pesce, hi, douche, pesce. And then the stove chirps never stopped and made such an awful and painful sound that this fountain had to be demolished by explosives. A single stone angel head was gathered up by villagers and hidden in a deep well until Mussolini was overthrown, which is the exact moment the head stopped crying. Creepy. Ghost fruit tree. Circa 1983, this extremely rare and delicate ghost fruit tree was imported from the deepest swamps of Louisiana by horticulturist Fran Abernathy. Abernathy hybridized the plant with other strains that she never revealed to make it hardier and easier to grow in slightly less satanic climates. The skull of Ivo Shandor. Convinced that society was too sick to survive, Ivo Shandor created a cult dedicated to bringing about the end of the world. He had more than 1,000 followers when he died, and they made sure he was interred in dramatic fashion. Following hours of Gozerian rituals, his body was carefully placed in a dramatic, if unnerving, mausoleum. In the end, however, time and decay did to him what they do for all, with one exception. Though he rests in pieces, Shandor doesn't rest in peace, and his skull occasionally lapses into ranting fits and the odd soliloquies on disappointment and faded glory. Creepy. Archangel's gallbladder. What? Circa mid-1300s, an unknown Turkish merchant found this curiosity lying in the field. It was changed hands countless times since then. It has no known purpose or use, but instills a sense of well-being and has therefore been treasured by each of its subsequent owners. That's creepy. And that's the last of the cursed artifacts. And lo and behold, guess what? We're still not quite through all the goodies that still remain within Ghostbusters the Video Game. So I guess we'll just have to try and wrap it up next time. I hope that you all enjoyed, that you like, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. It would really help me out, and I'd love to have you. So I hope that you all join me next time as we hopefully finally manage to put Ghostbusters the Video Game to bed. Until then, take care.